Hello violin players, we are going to be working on Allegretto in your Suzuki book today. Now, even though it happens before Andantino in the book order, I actually teach Andantino first before Allegretto because I think it's a little easier because the notes move more by step, whereas in Allegretto they skip around a little more, which can be a little tricky. So, Allegretto, I call it the pumpkin pie song though, and it has to do with the rhythm. I'm gonna play a bit of the first line, and maybe you can hear the pumpkin pies as I'm playing. Ready, and go. So that's most of the first line of Allegretto, and you'll notice that every single group of three notes in the entire song makes a pumpkin pie. Alright, so let's practice that rhythm a little bit. So it's going to be pumpkin pie, just over and over and over. That's all your bow's doing. It has two short little pumpkins. And notice I'm giving a little more oomph to that, to the pie. So I'm going pumpkin pie because it has that symbol below it. It's an accent, and that just means that you give that note a little extra oomph. So let's, on our open D, try some pumpkin pies together. Ready, and go. Pumpkin pie. Last one. Okay, so that is the bow stroke that you're gonna need. And then all you need to do is kind of plug the pitches in to the pumpkin pie rhythm. So if I'm starting from the beginning, the first three notes are innocent enough, they walk right up, right? And then the next group of notes is where we run into a little bit of trouble because we have a skip, and it's going from a 2 to a 4, which we always know is a bit of a danger zone. So make sure that your hand is in a good position to play that fourth finger, your wrist is straight, your arm is around. All right, and let's just try. So what I'm starting from is, you see those two little notes by themselves? So that's not going to count as a measure. That's just called a pickup. So measure 1 is going to start right on your first pie. It's going to start right here. Pie. That's measure 1, that F sharp. So I'm going to play the second, third, and fourth notes of measure 1. All right, so we can practice that skip from the second finger to the fourth finger. Let's do that a few more times. And one more. And then we have one more hurdle, which is if we start at the last two notes of measure 1, we have a string crossing as part of our pumpkin. And then I find that it's a little smoother sailing after that. So after we get those initial skips, the piece gets a lot easier. So let's do the last two notes of that first measure. It's a G, B, and then the first note of the second full measure, which is an open A. And let's do that a few more times. And one more for good luck. Ready, and. All right, you still doing your pumpkin pies? It's a good habit to start right off the bat. So now I'm gonna start from the beginning, and I will go up through that A. So we'll start right on a pumpkin. So I'll say ready, and go. And then we come in on our pumpkins. Ready, and go. Okay, let's try that one more time from the beginning. Ready, and go. Okay, one more for good luck, and then let's continue on. I'll play the rest of the line. If you need to work your way up to the rest of the line, that is absolutely fine, but here is how it goes, so you have an example. So I'm starting from the beginning, and I'm gonna go up until where you see something that looks like a bow lift. And we'll get there. We'll talk about that when we get there. Ready, and go. Okay, that's a D. There's 2 more notes left in that line, depending on what edition of the book you have. And you see something that looks like a bow lift, you're actually not going to need to do a bow lift because your bowing is going to work out. That's just to mark the end of that phrase, the end of that musical thought. All right, so I'm going to play through until you see a half note. So I'm going to start from the beginning and play through till you see a half note. Ready, and go. No bow lift, you don't need it. Here's line 2. Rest. Now, this is gonna sound weird. There's no bow lift marked here, but you have to do one. So over that rest, for it to work out, just write a little bow lift over that rest. So you're gonna have half, note, rest, and our pumpkin pie continues. The third line mixes things up a little bit for our pattern. It goes to the low A. So our pumpkin pie rhythm still continues. Sometimes I call that just to differentiate it from the other lines. I go pumpkin pie, cha-cha-cha, pumpkin pie, cha-cha-cha. And then we have some tricky notes to work out with our skips. So here's what I'm gonna do. Just play through that little chunk. I'm gonna start from, so you have the half note, and then the rest, where you do your bow lift. I'm gonna start on those 2 eighth notes after that. So that is a new pumpkin. Here we go. Ready, and go. And then slow down. And now you've come to another thing that looks like a bow lift that you don't actually have to do as a bow lift. And then you can continue on. So I'm gonna start from that same spot. That is the last 2 notes of measure 8. So you have that half note, the rest with the bow lift, and now we're on to the pumpkin pie, cha-cha-chas. Here I go. Ready, and go. Pause, but no bow lift, and then you continue on. And that is Allegretto, aka the Pumpkin Pie Song.